everyone, welcome back to Survivor Tribe. Will you be alone for the holidays this year? Do you find yourself weighing out the decision whether to go home or not every single year? Then this video is for you. With the holidays right around the corner, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about not only my own experience with spending the holidays alone, but a lot about the people who are out there who may be thinking about whether or not they should stay home and not go spend it with their families. I spent so many years spinning my wheels on this of whether I should go home or not. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what my experience was like going solo every year for the holidays, provide a checklist for you to determine whether you should avoid your family or not this year, and my advice on how you can make the most of it if you do choose to stay home. If you're new to Survivor Tribe and you'd like to learn more about how to find your voice and heal after abuse, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you don't miss any new content. And if you find my content helpful for your healing journey and would like to donate to keep Survivor Tribe up and running, please visit our GoFundMe page in the description below.
Help me, I'm poor.
So the holidays are quickly approaching, and for some of us, that just means a huge anxiety attack waiting to happen. I've personally made the choice to stay behind for multiple Christmases and Thanksgivings and other family events as well. And to be quite honest with you, the first few times that I did it, the experience was hell. It was completely terrible. I was alone, I was sad, I was crying a lot, but I was also surrounded in the outside world by so many people feeling the holiday spirit and being joyful. However, I eventually got to the point where I decided that I was not going to let outside influences have jurisdiction over how I was going to feel or how I was going to enjoy the holidays. Like, quite frankly, I was just really sick of people stealing that joy from me or letting them steal that joy from me. For years, I hated Christmas. I couldn't even put my finger on why I hated it so much, but every single year I was just a total Grinch.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Every single year there was conflict. Every single year there was violence. And this was just in my childhood. It actually got way worse as I got older. So now flash forward to my mid-20s. I had finally come forward about my sexual abuse. I came forward because I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought that I was protecting other people in my family. And I did it because I thought that I would prevent it from happening to someone else. Unfortunately, after I came forward, I was not believed. And because I wasn't believed, this meant that he was going to be there for every family holiday, every family event, every birthday, every graduation, every event that is supposed to be joyful for a family. And even though I had set very clear boundaries with him, he would still cross those boundaries every time I saw him. And I just sat there and I took it, and I took it for 5 years. And I know a lot of people out there would ask that question of like, why did you put up with it? Why did you deal with it? And it's one thing when you're telling someone to walk away from a friendship that's not working, but when it's family, it's completely different. It runs way deeper. And I forced myself to do this because I didn't want to look like the bad family member. I didn't want people to think I was a bad family member. And I, like everyone else, wanted to have a happy occasion with my family, and I wanted to be there for my loved ones. And after every time I would go to a family event or a holiday, I would then come home afterwards, and I would spiral out of control for several weeks on end, and sometimes even become suicidal. I know I'm not the only one in this. Can anyone else identify with this type of anxiety and sadness around the holidays? I would love to hear your stories below in the comments. It'll also make me feel not so alone in my own family situations. So after 5 years of dealing with this, I finally decided that it was time to put my foot down. Unfortunately, to them, this did not mean excommunicating this person from our family. And the way that my family felt that it was appropriate to deal with this was to just have us show up at family events at different time slots, so there was no crossover in the time that we were there. I then allowed for this really fucked up situation to continue for even longer. So for the first 5 years, I had to see him every single holiday, and then after, I just wasn't believed, and they had separated us so we wouldn't see each other at the same time, but they were still very much inviting him into the family. The fact that this was going on, the fact that I wasn't believed, and the fact that they were okay with keeping this monster in the family really, really took a toll on my mental health and well-being. And this is where I started to make the decision to not go home for the holidays, to spend it alone. Now, making this decision was definitely the lesser of two evils, but quite frankly, I'd rather spend a holiday sad and alone than being abused and manipulated. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, what a brave decision. You decided that you weren't going to deal with their crap anymore. However, those first couple of holidays alone were terrible. I cried, I spent the time alone, I slept a lot, I smoked a ton of weed, and I just ate a ton of food. Not only did I avoid everything holiday related like the plague, I was also avoiding and masking the way that I really felt about having stayed home. I didn't decorate, I didn't listen to Christmas music, I didn't make cookies. And because I had made this decision for myself, and because I was going against the grain, I was always met with a tremendous amount of family guilt. So after spending a couple of holidays alone and going through this process each and every year, I finally got to the point where I was sick and tired of letting other people steal that joy from me. And this is when I started to look at it from a different perspective. As unfortunate of a situation as it was, at the end of the day, it was my choice and it was my new reality. I realized that there's a ton of people out there who are probably going through the same motions every single year themselves, constantly weighing out the decision between the lesser of the two evils. Should you go and spend the time with your family and deal with abuse and manipulation, or should you go on your own, stay home alone, and be sad? Trick is, if you do stay home, you don't have to be sad, but I'm going to get to that in a second. First, I wanted to run through a checklist to help you determine if you should stay or go. 1. Do you find yourself spiraling after every family event? 2. Do you feel bitter in the presence of your family? 3. Do you feel more anxious or excited to see them? 4. Are they abusive towards you? 5. Do they disrespect your very clear boundaries? 6. Are you already expecting arguments going into the holiday? 7. What is your experience when you do go home? Is it a good one or is it a bad one? When you come back from your holiday, how do you feel? 8. Do you have other obligations like a partner that you split holiday time with, or a family of your own that you'd rather spend time with? Number 9. Are you in recovery and your family is a trigger? Number 10. Is there a history of unpleasant gatherings with your family? 11. Would you rather be alone or spend the time with someone else's family? Number 12. Is it literally the same shit every single year and nothing ever changes? If you answered yes to 5 or more of these, do yourself a favor, brush off the family guilt, and stay home. You may not want to make it a great holiday for yourself at first. Hell, you may even want to stay in bed all day long. And that's perfectly okay. The key is that you have to do what is best for you. If and when you are ready, here are a few of my tips for not only getting through the holiday, but also making an enjoyable experience for yourself. Remember that this is your choice, and the holidays are meant to be joyful and full of love, not a miserable experience. So, with all of that being said, if you do decide to stay home, here are a few of the things that I've done in the past to make it an enjoyable experience for myself. And hopefully, they'll work for you too. Just because you're not going home does not mean you have to spend it alone. A good example of that is I happen to live in a very transient place, and the vast majority of the people here are not from New York. So they are normally traveling back home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever they celebrate. But because the two holidays are so close together and it is so expensive to travel over the holidays, they normally don't go home for both. So, what I've been doing every year for Thanksgiving is that I host a Friendsgiving. And all I do is get in touch with everyone, find out who's not going home, invite them over, and we have great food, we have great wine, and then we just get to laugh and actually enjoy our holiday. And this next one, it really depends on how you feel, if you are feeling in the spirit or if you actually want to get into the spirit. But I make it a point to still decorate every year. Again, for the longest time I didn't, and I would just be really lazy and depressed and not want to celebrate at all. But now I've made it a point where I get those decorations out of the closet every year. I throw in some Christmas music, drink some eggnog, and I put my decorations up. And it's a really fun experience. And it also gets me into the Christmas spirit. And that brings me to the next one. Get into the spirit. You know, abusers usually have one goal, and that's to make you feel miserable, make you not enjoy things. So maybe when you were growing up, every holiday was shitty. My holidays were shitty growing up. So me getting into the holiday spirit is almost my act of rebellion against that. No one is going to determine how I should or shouldn't feel during the holidays, and no one's going to make me feel like shit over the holidays either. Always make it a point to give yourself what you didn't have when you were growing up, because it's probably what you need most. Now, if you are completely anti celebrating the holidays or decorating or cooking, you're also not feeling like staying in bed all day, make alternate plans. I personally find that the day of a holiday is a great time to go for a long walk, go for a hike, just get outside and get some fresh air. And let's be honest, getting outside always helps to elevate the mood. Or another thing that you can do if maybe going outside is not your thing, or maybe it's too cold to go outside, the other thing that I try to do is pamper myself. And obviously, that's going to be whatever you consider pampering. For me, it's I will give myself a facial and a manicure and a pedicure. It's just another great way to really show love for yourself when maybe you're not feeling as loved. And the next one is definitely my favorite on the list. Find a way to help others or go volunteer somewhere. Personally, for me, nothing gets me out of my own head and my own shit by going and helping someone else with something. And there's so many volunteer options around the holiday time, but I would definitely make sure to look at that in advance because those things fill up pretty quickly. So it may be something you have to plan for in advance. Now, if this is something that's going on for you year after year and you finally made the decision not to go home and you think that this may become your new norm, start new traditions for yourself. If you're someone like me who grew up with a lot of family traditions and they are very important to you, take from those traditions what you really love and make your own. It's never too late to start a new tradition. Now, if you're too depressed to do any of this, just stay in bed. Spend the day catching up on your sleep. Again, you have to do what feels right for you. It's only one day and the sun will rise again tomorrow. Just because you're staying home does not mean that you have to feel miserable about it. Do not let your abusers steal that joy from you. Remember that you made the choice to stay home, and even if it is the lesser of the two evils, it is still the better option than being abused. Try to show gratitude for not having to feel worse on that day. Now, if you make this decision for yourself, you are most likely going to have some backlash from your family, especially if you decide to tell them. That guilt is not yours to hold. Offer a simple explanation for your decision. Do not over-explain yourself and stand your ground with them. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope that this video is helpful for you as you try to make it through your holiday season. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you like this content and you're feeling extra generous this holiday season, please donate to our GoFundMe to help keep SurvivorTribe up and running. I hope you have a very happy and healthy holiday season. And until then, see you next time. Do you like my festive decorations? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Shitter was full. It's only one day, and the sun will come out tomorrow. Can't believe I said that.